We've come to it at last. Here are my top 10 favorite movies of the year 2014. Just so you guys know, I didn't see every movie that came out this year. I didn't even review all the movies that I saw. But these are the top 10 movies that I saw, and I said to myself, this is why I love going to the movies. And there were a lot of great movies on this year. I really wanted to put the Lego Movie on here somewhere. I mean, spoiler alert, Lego Movie's not on here. I saw that movie in February and I was like, this is gonna be in my top 10 for sure. It's one of the most original movies I've seen. But there were 10 more movies that came out this year that I liked even more. So yeah, this was an awesome year for movies. Putting this list together was really difficult, but I think I've got them in an order that I'm somewhat happy with, so let's go. Coming in at number 10, I have Gone Girl. Gone Girl, I didn't do a review on, so let me explain it a little bit. Gone Girl is a really cool mystery crime movie directed by David Fincher. One thing I really liked about this movie was that you were figuring it out with Ben Affleck's character. I felt like you were along for the ride as well. I never felt like I was 2 steps ahead of the character. I never felt like I was 2 steps behind the character. I felt like I was with Ben Affleck, trying to solve this case. The only reason it's number 10 and it's not higher up on this list is that I feel like after the first watch, some of the intrigue is kind of gone because you know what's going to happen. But still, that first watch was really intriguing. It's a cool movie. Check it out. Number 9 is Edge of Tomorrow, starring Tom Cruise. This is by far the most surprising movie of the year for me. I saw the trailer for this movie and I was like, it looks cool, but I'm not falling for this again, Tom Cruise. Oblivion was crap. I think that's why this movie didn't do too well in the box office, because a lot of other people had that thought too. They just thought it was like, Oblivion 2.0. But this was a really fun summer blockbuster. It deserved to make a lot more money than it did. Tom Cruise was still kicking butt. He's like, in his early 50s now. Emily Blunt solidified herself as a solid action heroine. This is a movie that I could picture myself rewatching a lot. I don't really watch a lot of movies, so for me, that's really saying something. At number 8, we have the movie that everybody just lost their minds over this year, Guardians of the Galaxy. To me personally, I don't know if I'm gonna get hate for this. It's weird because I'm saying this in my top 10 video, but for me, Guardians of the Galaxy, slightly overrated. However, it is still in my top 10 list, so that means I really like this movie. I like how Marvel took all of these characters that no one really knew that much about, and they made a really fun summer action blockbuster movie. Any movie that can turn the fat guy from Parks and Rec into an action star has my stamp of approval. Alright, now it's time for the man crush portion of this video, because number 7, John Wick. I'm a big fan of Keanu Reeves. I wasn't a fan of 47 Ronin last year. However, the guy's got Point Break, Speed, The Matrix. The guy knows how to make really cool movies. I'll even go as far as to say I like Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. That movie's hilarious to me. However, this was an awesome hitman action movie. I thought John Wick, the character, was really cool. He's a really efficient hitman who is just rusty enough to give the movie some suspense. For me, this was one of the coolest action movies of the year, and I'm glad I got to see Keanu Reeves back on screen again. If you want to win the lottery, you have to make the money to buy a ticket. At number 6, I have Nightcrawler. This movie I also didn't do a review on. I didn't have time, but this was a really dark, disturbing movie. Jake Gyllenhaal has to be nominated for an Oscar. I think he should win. I might have to think about that and like what other competition he has, but he's definitely up there in the running for sure. The way that this movie was shot gave a really sleek look to the city of Los Angeles. Made me think of Drive almost. This is another movie where I felt like I was along for the ride the entire time. I felt like I was with Jake Gyllenhaal, seeing, everything he was doing, some of the twisted up stuff that he did, which just made the movie all the more enjoyable for me. And I wasn't able to put the Lego Movie on this list, but hey, the animation department made it somewhere with number 5, which is How to Train Your Dragon 2. I was a big fan of the first How to Train Your Dragon movie. Actually, I saw it in theaters and I was like, it's a really good movie. And then I rewatched it like a couple years after. I was like, dude, this is like one of the greatest animated movies ever made. And this movie even upped the stakes from there. It was a really cool coming-of-age story. I liked seeing where Hiccup went from the first movie. Seeing him step up, having to lead his village. I love the relationship between him and Toothless. Really well done in this movie. Didn't feel like it was rehashed from the first movie at all. And this movie took twists and turns I was not expecting it to go, and I'm really glad it went there. Number 4, we have Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. When I first saw this movie, I thought to myself, this might be my favorite movie of the year. It was almost there. I had to reverse these last couple, a lot. This was a great second act of the Planet of the Apes movie. It was darker, it was more political. Andy Serkis as Caesar was amazing in this movie. I liked how it talked about, are the things that the people are doing morally right, morally wrong? Are they justified? I say that there is one clear hero in the movie. Other than that, there's a lot of villains in the movie. Some people that are vilified, but they have justified reasons for doing what they're doing. For me, this movie was the Empire Strikes Back of the Planet of the Apes movie. It was the Dark Knight of the Planet of the Apes movies. This movie is just the epitome of summer blockbuster action. It's smart, it's sleek, it's well done. This is basically a perfect movie. My number 3 spot, I loved the first time I saw it. I watched it a second time once it came out on Blu-ray. And since that second rewatching, I have professed that Captain America: The Winter Soldier is my favorite movie in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. For me, I got more out of this movie than I did the first Iron Man. I got more out of it than I did the Avengers. Still love those movies, but for me, Captain America just has the upper hand. This movie shook up the whole Marvel world in a way that I really wanted to see it go. One of my big issues with Thor 2 was that it looked like it was going to take these really dramatic turns, and then it kind of like retracted them. Not The Winter Soldier. This movie was amazing. It was a really cool like spy espionage movie. It turned Captain America from, in my eyes, just a really cool character to being, you know, probably the best superhero in the cinematic universe. Him and Iron Man probably tied for my favorite, which is going to be really cool in Civil War. Number 1 and number 2 I could really interchange either way, but as I have it right now, number 2 is Whiplash. I haven't stopped thinking about this movie since I saw it in the theaters. J.K. Simmons was incredible in this movie, so was Miles Teller. I really did connect with this movie a lot. It felt like a really personal story. It's one of the most intense movies I've ever seen, even though it doesn't have any giant explosions, it doesn't have any, you know, spy action scenes. But just the battle going on between these two was so perfectly done that I'll probably go back and rewatch it many times. It's a disturbing movie at times for sure, but I thought it was great. Alright guys, we've come to it. My favorite movie of the year. This was also my most anticipated movie of the year. So glad it worked out that way. X-Men Days of Future Past. I remember back, like before the Wolverine came out, I was hearing about this Days of Future Past movie. I heard Bryan Singer was coming back. It was gonna have, you know, the cast of the original trilogy with the cast of First Class. I saw all that info and I was just like, I don't know how this is gonna work out, but I think it's gonna be awesome. And it was really awesome. I love the X-Men movies. They did get off course a little bit. Thankfully, they got back on course. They made this awesome movie. It was a personal story with Xavier. It was cool seeing young Magneto, young Mystique again. I don't know how X-Men Apocalypse is going to be able to top this movie, but if they have Bryan Singer coming back to direct it and they have all this cast returning, I think the future is looking very bright for this franchise. And, oh man, I'm going to go watch this movie after I finish filming this. So there you go, my top 10 personal favorite movies of 2014. So now if you guys want, you can comment down below with your top 10 movies of the year. I'd really love to see what that is. One thing I really like about this time of year is just kind of like a celebration of movies. A celebration of entertainment and fun and, you know, enjoyment. So let's celebrate that. Talk about the movies that you saw this year that just reminded you why you love going to the movies. And guys, thanks so much for watching this video. If you guys like it, you can click subscribe to see more videos. And now I'm going to go watch Days of Future Past, so take care.